Let's get the latest with Mufti Ishla following that story from Srinagar, and Suhasini Haider joining us from New Delhi. Mufti, first to you, on the ground, what is the situation right now? We know that two of the militants have escaped.
Well, yes, in fact now the latest is that we're hearing that Hizbul Mujahideen has claimed responsibility for this. In fact, its spokesman calling up local news agencies saying that they were indeed behind this attack. But having said that, hours after this attack took place, we did speak to top police officials. They're saying that this cannot be Hizbul Mujahideen. In fact, it bears the Lashkar's signature. The police telling us that so far they have not been able to identify those two militants, but probably they could be foreigners. This was even said by Union Home Secretary in New Delhi. But having said that, police really had a tough time, as also the CRPF, given that they are in a kind of a double role. They have to tackle militancy as well. They're getting bogged in law and order situation. That perhaps explains the high figures of casualties today. Also, this incident today has opened a can of worms in the sense that the Armed Forces Special Powers Act that Chief Minister Omar Abdullah had raised some time back, saying that it was time that it should be repealed. That certainly has come from criticism from the opposition benches, including some Jammu-based parties of BJP and Panthers, have now said that there should be a discussion on today's incident, and that in areas like Srinagar, Gandarbal, or for that matter Central Kashmir, where militancy has waned down, now the Chief Minister should again call and say that APSA, Armed Forces Special Powers Act, should be in fact in full force out there too. Karma.
Right, so that AFSPA debate back into focus. So Suhasini Haider, the first Fedayeen attack in almost 3 years in Srinagar, but if you look at the larger picture, this may be part of a trend of a sudden rise in militancy in the state.
Well, that's right. Certainly many causes for worry, not just for the state government, for the central government as well, especially given that it's the Hizbul Mujahideen that has claimed credit, whether in fact it is responsible or not. But take a look at just where this attack happens, and that's one of the big causes of worry, that this brazen attack happened in daylight. You're looking at those pictures from that attack some hours ago there in Srinagar. We're talking about the Bemina area of Srinagar. This is one of the most heavily fortified areas, and this is why it is so heavily fortified. It contains all the security force personnel, establishment, whether it is the police of Jammu and Kashmir or whether it is in fact the CRPF. If we look closer at that Bemina area, remember there have been attacks here in the past, and this is why there is the Bemina police post right there. That was where those first attackers came in from, the police public school where the children were playing cricket, and we believe that those attackers in fact infiltrated through them, bringing their arms along inside a sports kit and then moving upwards towards the CRPF post. Here is the Bemina crossing, this major Bemina chalk through which we see a lot of army convoys in particular going through, particularly because of how well secure this area is supposed to be, and that attack happening at the CRPF post right over here next to it. Now, that is certainly one of the big causes of worry for the government today. Remember, the fact that it happened in broad daylight in a place that was supposed to be so secure and was the first Fedayeen attack in the valley in 3 years of militants coming in and becoming suicide missions, as it were. It also comes close on the heels of the killing of CRPF Jawans in Handwara this month, the killing of a Sarpanch in February, making some wonder, is this a spate of attacks? Are these all linked? Remember, we have had rising reports of militants infiltrating the LOC, particularly since January, and of course the attacks follow those growing protests over the hanging of Afzal Guru, and particularly the government's decision announced this week to not return his body, coupled with protests that have been going on about the repeal of the AFSPA itself. It's a very tense situation there on the ground, and certainly the question now being asked, are militant groups, particularly like the Hizbul Mujahideen, the Lashkar-e-Toiba, that were once so active, have been on the decline over the last few years, are they using that situation there on the ground to perhaps launch a new series of attacks in the valley?
Right. Mufti, of course, the identity of the caller is very, very important, isn't it? The person who called and, of course, claimed responsibility for their organization making the strike, but policemen, of course, trashing that, saying that it cannot be the Hizbul.
Well, police right now are saying that they're going to further investigate into this. Hours after this attack happened, Karma, a top senior police official told me that this incident, this attack that took place had all the signatures of Lashkar Toiba. He was referring to some of the previous attacks. He did believe that it's Lashkar which is actually behind. However, having said that, this new development which has come in the wake of Hizbul Mujahideen claiming the attack, its spokesman, one Mr. Baliguddin, calling up local news agencies, has really had the police in the contrary. But further detailed investigations will really reveal as to who is behind this. Whether it's happened in tandem between Lashkar and Hizbul Mujahideen, who could be behind this, or it's Lashkar or Hizbul, that will be revealed in a day or two.
Absolutely.